LeBron and the Lakers should be well rested. 6 days since they kicked Portland out of the bubble. One series down, 3 more to go. All dialed in. The Western Conference semifinals get underway in an hour. Lakers and Rockets. Houston, one of just 3 teams to have a winning record against the Lakers this season. Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. I'm Chris McGee. Hall of Famer is Big Game James Worthy. We have Tough Juice, Karan Butler. We got Brez. We got Ali. We got Jardell. The whole team is here. It's the first time in 8 years the Lakers are in round 2 of the NBA playoffs. Bigger than that, though, James, 6 days off. How much golf did you play?
Every day plus some.
And did you play well? Were you dialed in?
I played well maybe 40% of the time. I'm working on some new mechanics.
Yeah.
You know how golf
kind of
is.
like the Lakers, getting ready for a series, getting ready for
they had 6 days off.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure they're working on some new stuff. You know, looking back at how they played in that first round and what they need to improve on. You know, it was nice to have some time off.
I assume you did 4 podcasts, talked to at-risk youth.
Never stopped working.
I was all over the place.
Only 2 jobs in mind?
The leaf and the wind, man. Wherever it blew me.
You've been everywhere around this country.
All over the place,
That's what I love about you. All right, let's take a look at the playoff picture as we prepare for Game 1. We're going to start with the Eastern Conference. The Miami Heat are up 2-0 on the Milwaukee Bucks. We have Game 3 going on right now. Milwaukee was up when I came out on set. They are in desperation mode. Boston Celtics, Toronto. Not sure if you saw the game last night. Unbelievable shot by OG. How about the pass by Lowry over Taco Fall? Bang, winner. They are back in the series at 2-1. In the Western Conference, Denver and Clippers. Clippers looked real nice, taking it to Denver. Didn't have much rest after that 7-game barn burner against the Jazz, and they looked tired, and the Clippers took advantage and played awesome. They're up 1-0. Lakers and Rockets, last ones to kick it off. That is in an hour. Game 1, always a feel-out game, right, James and Karan? Kind of an overreaction by the fans and media. We know that's going to happen for sure. Rest versus rust for the Lakers. Tired versus momentum for the Rockets. Where does the advantage lie, James?
Well, it should lie in the team that has time off and has time to prepare. You know, you rest some legs. You're a veteran team. It's not like you're a young team that's going to get distracted by anything. I'm sure LeBron and AD and all the veteran players stayed focused with video and whatever practice they had. And so I think the advantage should be, to the Lakers. They're focused. They're starting to shoot the 3 very well. They've always played pretty good defense. So sustaining that in this second round. And to me, not to disrespect the 8th seed team, a first seed team should be an 8th seed team. To me, the second round is when it really starts because things can get a little crazy when you start making adjustments and, the team's a little better. But I think the Lakers have the advantage.
It's interesting to look at this series because a lot of people remember how they reverted to small ball, the Houston Rockets, and they was able to take advantage of that one game. And people were just like, that could be a problem for the Lakers. However, when you're just keying in and dialing in on one team and all their tendencies for an entire series,
than a single night.
It's totally different. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they're going to pay attention to the tendencies. And, let's face it, I would love to see the ball in Russell Westbrook hands as much as possible because, in that series versus OKC, he made a ton of plays, but unfortunately he was making them for OKC. So I would put him in position to have the ball in his hand as much as possible.
James, one team hangs their hat on defense and an offense that's run by LeBron James and Anthony Davis. The other team plays fast, plays ISO, shoots a lot of threes, has 2 former MVPs. I guess the storyline comes down to style and who imposes their will and dictates how these games are played.
And Houston imposes theirs very well. I mean, they play small. You got, guys like, Covington and Gordon. Those guys, they collectively rebound. They may be small, but they're very active. The way they spread the floor and the way they speed the game up, it's hard to really match up quickly. So shots are going up, you're out of position, they're getting offensive rebounds. Don't let the size fool you. So I think the Lakers have to recognize that they got to pound it inside. They got to pound, and knock them out early, those first 2 games, and, recognize their strengths. And I think it should be not easy, but they should be able to take care of it.
That last possession of the season for OKC when Steve Adams had P.J. Tucker on him, everybody in America was a coach. Everybody was just saying dive into the paint. So now that's going to be Anthony Davis or possibly Kyle Kuzma if you want to play a small lineup. I mean, it's different, and we have versatility at all those positions to maximize that.
All right, the Lakers will get their second-round matchup with the Houston Rockets started at 6. Now for more on the latest with the purple and gold, let's check in with Lakers reporter Mike Trudell. Mike, how we doing?
Hey guys, what's happening? Excited for round 2 here. We do have one note, and it's an injury note, although not to a player, which is not something we would typically do. Jason Kidd not actually going to be at the game, experiencing some severe back spasms, so he's back at the hotel trying to recover from that. Certainly wish him well, and they hope that they can get him in the arena for game 2. Now, in terms of the matchup, what I was wondering from Frank Vogel is, how do you do 2 things at once, which is try to protect the rim when Russ and James Harden are so good at getting there, and then also not helping too far off of shooters and allowing a barrage of 3-pointers. So that's where we started with head coach Frank Vogel a couple moments ago.
Yeah, you got to guard both, and that's, you summed up the challenge with playing the Houston Rockets. You have 2 great players and a great 3-point shooting support system around them. So, you got to be intelligent with how you bring double teams, how you help, and you got to scramble like hell on the backside.
And Frank, just with the way Houston plays defense, is there something that's most important for you to execute offensively to try and make sure you're getting the shots that you want and not what they're asking you to do?
Yeah, I mean, number one thing is we just got to make sure we stay under control and don't turn the ball over. They're very good with their hands, and their switching defense is designed to gamble and force turnovers. So we just got to make sure we take care of the ball.
Hey Frank, just a couple lineup questions. Will you be sticking with your normal starting lineup tonight? And then what's the status of Rajon Rondo and how do you plan on integrating them?
We're going to hold the starting lineup till 30 minutes, and Rajon will play tonight off the bench.
Hey, you guys go ahead.
Kyle? Frank, with Jason, obviously you already have Lionel not here, and I guess you get input in breaks and games. Is Jason going to be watching, coaching, and what do you miss about his presence when he's down on the sideline?
Well, he just has a great feel for reading games, and all of our assistant coaches are invaluable to our process, the preparation process, as well as in-game adjustments, rotations, all those types of things. So, he'll be missed, but next man up, and we'll be ready to go.
Guys, matchups are going to be so interesting to watch in this series. Mike D'Antoni said in his pregame interview that they're actually going to start Eric Gordon on LeBron. We know that LeBron's going to spend some time in the post. They feel that Gordon's really stout and can at least try to hold up against him there. But it's another series where there isn't necessarily a great or an ideal matchup for LeBron. Not, Geeter, that there are many right in the NBA. LeBron's pretty good.
Got one thing to say to you. Barbecue chicken. Mike Trudell, appreciate it. Good work. Rondo in. Jake Kidd out. All right, our graphics producer, Andrew, he found some numbers for you, Big Game. This is your numbers with 3 days rest in the postseason. Not bad, Hall of Famer, 28 games. You're averaging 22.5 points. How about a 57% clip from the field? 4.8 rebounds, 3.6 assists. Always shoots under par with 3 days of rest.
That's how you got the name Big Game, huh?
Don't give me a nap. You give me a nap, you're in trouble.
You under par with 3 days rest?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Impressive.
That's
Plenty
different.
more ahead here on Access
I've never
Sports
been under
Net
par.
Lakers. Ever in your life?
No.
You been in 70s?
No.
70s?
Once, 79. I'm an 88, 89, 90, 92 guy right now.
Oh, he cold.
Dwight Howard finished in 9th place for the NBA's 6th Man of the Year balloting. He was productive in fewer than 20 minutes per game, averaging 7 and 7. We're back with more after the break. But first, a look at the Lakers-Blazers from round 1. The Lakers are back in the playoffs, taking on the Blazers in the first round.
You got time to prepare and plan for them. You got to go and get the win.
Throw it down, AD, after a great day from LeBron. Down the middle goes AC, the Caruso. Blocked by AD, good play by AD. He's ahead of the pack. Here he goes to throw it down. Lob to LeBron, LBJ, the alley-oop.
Runner in the lane, no good. Follow jam by Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and he got way up on that follow. Look at Lillard. He got to the rim, and Anthony Davis blocked. Follow jam, AD, and that could do it.
At the other end, blocked by James.
Boy, he set him up perfectly for that one.
Oh, pull up. LeBron!
No.
He's got it from deep.
No. Look at Javale.
playoff than Danny Green. They're measuring it out. Last time the Lakers had double 30-point scorers was Kobe and Powell back in 2010. 43, 9, and 4 for AD.
There's the triple-double.
34, 10, and 10 for one LeBron James. The Lakers will close out the Blazers and move on to round number 2.
In this game, Brez, everyone is focused on James Harden and Russell Westbrook, the Houston backcourt. You want to talk about the Lakers backcourt?
Yeah, enough of those guys for a minute. Let's talk about KCP and Danny Green. KCP really had a nice finish to that first-round series. Remember that first game, not so hot, 1 point in 29 minutes, 0 for 9 from the floor that night. That was his worst shooting game ever. But then he really straightened out. Games 2 through 5 against Portland, he was 48% from three-point range. That is getting it done. Danny Green, not quite as fortunate, didn't really have a strong first round on offense, 8 points a game, shot 35% overall. But the deal is, Houston is scoring about 18 points more per game in the playoffs than the Lakers from three-point range. So if these two guys can kind of close that gap a little, get a little hot behind the arc in a few of these games, maybe Houston's massive advantage behind the arc will kind of disappear a little bit. Expecting pretty good things from those guys. KCP, though, really nice turnaround after that one tough game against Portland.
Whenever you go into a series like this where you have two great teams and both teams have multiple superstars, you always expect those guys to do their thing. But there's always an X factor, a guy that kind of makes the difference, whether it's off the bench or it's a starter. Who's the X factor in this series?
Yeah, you know, you got to pick one for each team. For the Lakers, it's Kyle Kuzma. I would have said KCP, but he's looking pretty good. Kyle's really interesting what he's doing on defense right now. He was one of only 2 Lakers to be in the plus-minus category in all 5 games against Portland in that first round. So he is really coming on strong. He's not scoring the best in 3 of his last 4 games. Got over 8 points only once. So you could rediscover that touch a little bit. But I think Kuz is going to be a big deal as far as the Lakers' fortunes, and Covington for the Rockets. Yeah. I mean, he's the big name.
He's good.
He's the guy they traded the center away for to get right before the All-Star break and everything. And now they don't have Clint Capella, so they got to go with Covington a lot. He's hitting a lot of threes. He made 6 in that Game 7 win.
I was going to say he was huge in Game 7. He's also really big for them down the stretch in February, his first game against the Lakers. All right, Caruso, that's your number 3.
Yeah, let's go back to the Laker backcourt. We'll go to the reserves this time. All right, never in my estimation has a guy averaged 5 points a game in a series yet had such a massive impact. He was great defensively. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it. He was the other guy who was plus in the plus-minus in all 5 games against Portland. I liked what he did against Dame Lillard, too. All right, he really kind of hurt him a little bit in certain junctures. You're not going to put him on the guy for 40 minutes a game, but he can't rest because, once again, another good backcourt in this round after facing a really good backcourt in that first round.
All right, good stuff from you, Brez. We appreciate it. We'll keep our eye on those things for game number 1. Straight ahead on Access, what can the purple and gold do to limit the Beards' production in their semifinal matchup? We'll discuss that and more coming up next.
We're on. We get a couple days to kind of decompress and wait for our next opponent between OKC and Houston, and then back at it.
You know, this moment is so much bigger than us playing basketball. So hopefully, years on down the line, when America is in a better place, that you can look back to this moment and be like, that was one of the catapults that kind of got it going. Only time will tell, but you know, hopefully, the past couple of days is a change for the greater good in the future.
Listen, it ain't easy to close a team out, okay? And it ain't easy to beat a team 4 straight, especially the hottest team in Orlando since we came down here. Teamwork won the game for us. That's a hell of a series win. Okay, on to the next. Yes, sir. Bring it in, bring it in. Here we go. Mamba on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Brand new episode of Backstage Lakers premieres tonight after our post-game coverage of Game 1. Our backstage cameras take you behind the scenes as the Lakers react to a historic day in sports. It's all access in the bubble, only on Backstage Lakers. Rockets have 2 MVPs that will be relentless. Let's start with James Harden. He's coming off a series where Lou Dort from OKC actually guarded him really well, was all over him. The Lakers will show a lot of different looks at him, Cron, I'm sure.
Yeah, you know, you got to keep length on him, and, you know, it's going to be limited because traditionally Avery Bradley would be that guy that you'll place on him. So Kyle Kuzma's going to get a crack at him. Deion Waiter's going to get a crack at him. Rondo being back healthy is going to get a crack at him. But collectively, by committee, you're going to have to try to slow him down. Similar to what you see what's happening in the Eastern Conference for Giannis. The Miami Heat's doing a remarkable job defensively at closing lanes out and taking away real estate. So if you can keep a body on him and crowd his space as much as possible and be disciplined, not sticking your hand in the cookie jar, because he knows how to get to the foul line. That's key.
Yeah, discipline is the key. And simultaneously, I know it's hard to do, but you got to try to make him work on the other end a little bit. I know they switch a lot, but in all calls, you got to work him a little bit on the offensive end, you know, collectively by committee, like Tough Juice said. But then on the other end, you got to, you know, get a little physical with him. You know, sometimes just little things as boxing somebody out, you know, putting a hip into somebody. That's legal. You know, you can get away with that. Just wear him down a little bit and make him work hard. That's the key for him.
Setting a lot of picks, too. Run him off a lot of screens.
Yeah. I mean, you got to somehow make him work a little bit.
You know, on the other side is Russell Westbrook, right? His 8 highest scoring games this season, 2 of them came against the Lakers, right? He had 35 in January, had 41 in February. He's always ready to go against the Lakers, and I think he relishes kind of this underdog role. Karan, that's what he'll be saying, and he's dangerous in this position.
Well, you know, when you think of James and you think of Russell Westbrook, both of those guys are L.A. kids. However, because they're in the bubble, they're not returning to Staples Center. They're not going to put on a huge show in front of family and loved ones. So I feel like, you know, this is a neutral zone. And, you know, you look at Russell Westbrook and his production while being in the bubble, he haven't had his best outings. So I think that if you put the ball in his hand, keep the ball in his hand, and just play that game, I think the percentages is in your favor.
Yeah, I think it's very easy, too, when you're going from city to city. It's easy to come into L.A., you know, and drop big numbers. Karan said it earlier. It's a 7-game series. You get a chance to track him. He's the one that you can make adjustments, force him to do things he doesn't want to do. Harden's kind of impossible. But I think over, you know, a couple of games, we should be able to minimize his strengths and force him to his weakness, which is shooting the 3, putting the ball in his hand, letting him make erratic plays and things of that nature, forcing the issue.
Heard from a lot of fans, James, you know, when that OKC game was going on, like, let's go Thunder. I think people thought that would have been the easier series. For me, and I think for you and for Karan, let's bring on the Rockets. I mean, that's how it should be. You got 2 former league MVPs. You got Anthony Davis, LeBron James, star power. This is what you want to see.
Yeah, you don't want to see the elite. And you want to see some high power scoring on both squads, and that's what you're going to get with this matchup. However, the Lakers are better defensive teams, and I think that should overcome.
Can't take them lightly. You know, that's one of the things that's key. You can't take them lightly, but at the same time, you know, LeBron, good friends with Chris Paul, been watching, seeing some of the pockets and things that you can do, take advantage of offensively and defensively. Pretty sure they shared notes. Mm-hmm. You know, so going forward, you know, this is a great opportunity for them.
James Harden said in his walk-off interview, this battle's going to be Battle of the Stars. That's right. All right, game 1 between the Lakers and Rockets. It's about 30 minutes away over on ESPN. LeBron averaged a triple-double in the first round against Portland. You can bet he's just getting warmed up. We're back with more after the break, but first, the throwback Rockets-Lakers from the Shaq attack.
I wouldn't want Fisher necessarily to take that shot that fast.
Oh, and there's a swing by O'Neal, and they got a Bruja.
Beat their second-round opponent, the Houston Rockets, coming off a thrilling 7-game series. The Lakers have been off for 6 days, almost a week after beating the Blazers in round 1 of the NBA playoffs. They stormed back and won 4 straight. The Lakers will need to use a similar recipe to defeat their second-round opponent, the Houston Rockets, coming off a thrilling 7-game series against OKC. Houston will continue to fire away from 3, averaging over 50 attempts per game in round 1. Like the Lakers, the Rockets also create a ton of turnovers. In fact, these 2 teams are number 1 and number 2 in points off turnovers in the playoffs. The Stars will be on full display in this series. James Harden has not shot the ball well in the bubble so far, but he's still putting up nearly 30 points, 8 assists, and 9 free throw attempts per game. On the other side, LeBron James averaged a triple-double in the first round. He shot a tremendous 60% from the field, including over 46% from the field. Lakers set to begin their second-round matchup with the Rockets, and following practice on Thursday, LeBron spoke about the challenge Houston presents.
Just to speak on Houston, their size, and I'm only talking about height, I'm just talking about their size and athleticism allows them to cover a lot of ground on the floor, especially in the half court. Very scrappy bunch. With Russ and James, they're just so dynamic that you understand that they're going to get theirs. But you got to be able to limit their free throw attempts. James is number 1 in our league at free throw attempts and free throws made. Been like that for the last 5 years probably, if not more. So you can't allow him to make his threes, but also put him on the free throw line and get in the paint. So you got to be able to try to take something away. It's not the first time I've went against 5 guys that shoot threes in my basketball life. So I've played against all different types of lineups before, since I started playing basketball when I was 9 years old. So there's nothing strange about it. It is what it is, and we have to prepare for it, and we have to be great every night in order to win. And if we're not, we'll lose. It's that simple.
I saw you have some rest and relaxation, but how did you spend this last week off, essentially?
Training, video games, working on my body, and drinking wine.
Time for a little Access 360, Cron. Anthony Davis will not be getting the same looks and touches that he got against the Blazers, because the Rockets do a little different stuff defensively, a lot of switches, and they'll adjust.
Yeah, I love that about LeBron, that soundbite. Whenever someone praise you extremely high like that, the follow-up is the diss. So I'm going to show you the diss of what's going to happen, in this 360. Now, clearly in the last series versus Portland, Anthony Davis, you see, could have easily elected to go one-on-one, got into the 2-man game with Caruso. Caruso's going to go downhill, draw the attention of the Portland Trail Blazers. Going to kick it out. Anthony Davis, sweet, comfortable shot. The difference is with Houston, as you're going to see, same scenario, Schroeder, not a shooter, but Gallinari's coming up. He's going to set the screen and initially just pop out. And, Houston is switching everything, so it's making it difficult. But Anthony Davis is different. You can see him anywhere on the court. You could try to keep him in front of you as much as possible if you're the defense, but he can live in the post. He can bring the ball up off the rim, the length of the floor. Like, he's just a different species.
And great breakdown. Big game. For AD, it just seems, watching him this entire year, the recipe is easy. When he starts getting touches on the elbow or in the post, or he's in attack mode early, it opens up the rest of his game. And he's got so much confidence, and when that mid-range or that 3 is falling, it's over.
Yeah, attack mode is key, Gita. That's the most important thing. When he starts that game, he has to let the opponents know. And I think with Houston, since they're a small lineup, I like going inside first, being a little physical, going quick, collapsing the defense. The Lakers are starting to shoot the 3 better. Get those guys involved early, and then defensively, go after everything. But attack mode and be smart. Recognize what he has to do, recognize the matchup, and then attack.
Let's look at Anthony Davis versus the Rockets. Here are the numbers. 15 points against Robert Covington. James Harden, 14. Daniel House Jr., 11. You look at P.J. Tucker, 6. P.J. Tucker is the one that's going to draw that assignment to start. And he actually said yesterday that being smaller, he has a little bit of an advantage because he's able to use that lower center of gravity. So we bring in Allie Clifton for a little chat. And Allie, what do you think about what PJ said and how AD makes this an advantage for him?
Look, I think, as you guys just mentioned, when you speak to his athleticism, his size, his skill, his mobility, that is all to his advantage when it comes to the offensive end of the floor. But I think what will separate himself from this Houston Rockets team, as PJ Tucker has made very clear and known, their brute force, their physicality, their toughness that they're going to present against Anthony Davis and the entire squad in general, is going to be tough. It's not going to be something that you just come in and you think that you can handle based off of being a few inches taller, as AD is. His ability to separate himself in this series, I believe, is going to come down to his mindset. His ability to want to lean into that force, that strength, that toughness, multiple kinds of looks. As PJ Tucker mentioned, they're going to want him to take contested twos, and not just contested twos, guys, but contested twos off of dribble. Multiple dribbles. They want to force him out of his comfort zone as much as possible, furthest away from the rim that they can. And I think that it's something that they pride themselves on so much that they feel comfortable and confident in. And if AD is not willing to match that from the jump with his mindset, it could be a long series for the Lakers.
And Allie, one of the top storylines in this series will be the Laker bigs. Like on paper, they should have a field day, but when you look at the last time they played, Dwight only played 4 minutes, JaVale McGee only 16 minutes, and it was the Rockets that dictated the pace. Can the Laker bigs have an impact in this series?
I think they can for one large reason. The Houston Rockets may be a bit tired. I mean, they've been playing every single day. This is when you guys started the show talking about rest versus rust and the amount of days that the Lakers have had to really get their legs feeling good and under them. I think if they can have that activity on the glass especially and really create that disparity from the get-go here in Game 1, it doesn't give the Rockets any choice but to try and match it, which they can't because they don't have that size. And I'm always a believer in wanting to establish matchups when it comes to the playoffs rather than chase them. I think the minute you chase one, it gives the opponent an advantage and one leg up. So I believe that the Lakers have that ability offensively. I think Dwight, JaVale, they're very active. And if they can crash the glass and continue to put pressure on Houston as a defensive team, they put themselves in a good position.
Allie, you scored a lot of points with this desk right here. You said rest versus rust. That was 34 minutes ago in this show. You were watching, you were paying attention, and it's appreciated. Thank you.
Team player.
Team player indeed. Thank you, Allie Clifton. We appreciate you. Have fun in that post-game show. All right, we're getting closer to tip-off in the bubble. James Harden has had many big scoring nights against the Lakers in his career, but this season the NBA scoring champ averaged only 29 points per game against LA before the break. Let's look back at one of the memorable moments from the regular season when LeBron reminded us of the Mamba.
If Avery Bradley looks ahead, he will get LeBron, and LeBron, a reverse dunk, slamming it after bringing it down to his waist. That's like a dunk contest dunk.
Plus, LeBron got analytical in the Lakers' first-round series. When we return, we'll take a
Access Sportsnet Lakers is brought to you
behind the scenes with a purple and gold. And on the next episode,
we call this a brotherhood. We still have solidarity with them. Yes, we've been using our platform and trying to create change, but there is strength in numbers. And that's what is the case here.
Plus,
the Lakers can punch their ticket to round 2 tonight. Step back 3, and he's got it. Lakers back up by 3.
A new episode of Backstage Lakers tonight at 10 on Spectrum Sportsnet.
Little step for LeBron, and he hits it. LeBron just bullies his way in, hangs and scores. Here he goes. Oh, LeBron with one hand, the king. LeBron James, 36, 10, and 10.
It's not a secret why he's the best in the game.
You do know who the latest Laker was who put up a 30-point triple-double in the postseason, correct?
Can I take a guess?
By the way, James Worthy has achieved the first triple-double of his career.
James Worthy?
You're a smart man. 36, 16, and 10.
It feels like your first piece of candy as a child. It feels like your first A on your report card. Oh, man, it feels like the first kiss as a teenager from your girlfriend. This is ultimate. This is ultimate feeling.
2 big game James, I say.
2 big game James. Do you remember your first kiss? You know what you would say now? Feels like your first eagle on the par 5.
Yeah. That what I would compare it to. Anything golf related, Gator.
Yeah. LeBron knows his history.
That first kiss was pretty cool too.
Facts. He knows where big game comes from. Yeah. Pretty cool. Listen, he ramped it up with each game, it seemed, right? Averaging a triple-double in the series. You can't even ask what you need from him in this series against the Rockets, James, I don't think, because he kind of gives you everything, right? Every time.
Yeah, physically, he's going to give you everything that's demanded of him. What he's going to give them is what they need most is leadership. Those little conversations during the timeouts, halftime, that's what they're going to be seeking because some of these guys haven't been where he has. So he loves this moment, and I think in addition to everything he does physically on the floor, it's going to be what he does vocally and how he leads this team by example.
I look at it, you got Covington, you got you really don't have no one really to guard. When we talk about Gordon's going to start off with, he's too small. LeBron's going to be dominant. But like you said, his leadership, putting guys in position, and I think it's an excellent series for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, this is the second series in a row where the opponent is trying to adjust to the Lakers. Remember back against Portland, they started 2 centers. Really didn't work out too well with Hassan Whiteside and Nurkic. Just didn't slow down LeBron or AD. Now you got a shooting guard on LeBron. I don't see how that works, guys. The physics don't make sense there.
Yeah, and I was going to ask Karan, Brez, like in Portland, Game 1, he had that historic triple-double, but he really didn't have the foot on the gas offensively. Game 2, 10 points. But from that moment on, games 3, 4, 5, he's over 30 and he's dominant. What do you expect Game 1 here? A little more offensive maybe with that matchup?
Definitely going to see him a little more offensive, and I think that he understands the moment. Yeah, look, it's clear as day that the championship opportunity is right there.
Yeah.
And I think he understands the moment clearly because he's one of the greatest players ever to play the game, and this is a great opportunity for him to have his fingerprints all over this series.
Like LeBron James, did you used to does it seem like every round you lock in more? Like you? Each round is there a little more?
Yeah. Every game, especially each round, because when you advance, something happens internally that lets you know that you're reaching your goal. So, yeah, LeBron's going to be locked in, smash and crash time. Let Houston know that we're here and we're not the regular season team that you saw and was pretty good against. It's a different ball game, and we're going to hurt you inside. We're going to defend you. We're going to shoot the three. We're getting loose balls. And bring in some of those X factors, Kuz, Caruso. Let them be a big part of it, too. So I think that's key for his leadership going forward.
He was serious.
Brez, I was kind of listening in on your production meeting today. You had some interesting things about LeBron's shot chart from the first round. I was surprised to hear it.
You little spy, you. I had no idea.
3 feet away from me.
Yeah, that's true, too.
Actually, 6.
Yeah, amazing stuff here from LeBron, guys. I mean, he took 80 shots in that first round, okay? Nothing from the mid-range. It was either three-point territory where he took 28 shots or in the paint where he took 52 shots. Look at the numbers, guys. There is nothing around the mid-range area, nothing like 15 to 19. It's really an astounding stat that he was all or nothing in that entire series.
Brez, that's what Mike D'Antoni wants to see.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be great if he was with Houston right now. I mean, D'Antoni would be going nuts.
How many shots in the, you said 50 what in the
52 in the paint.
I know James likes to hear that. That's a lot.
Well, you know what it is that there's no resistance to him getting to the paint. So when he gets below the top of the key, he knows he can get to that hole, and he knows he can get all the way there. Very rarely when you see him, maybe if they force him to a fadeaway 8-foot or something like that. But LeBron's getting to that cup, whether he gets there directly or whether he gets in there in spin cycles. That's why he's not shooting that 15-footer. When he has to, he will, but when he's getting to the cup, Brez, he ain't selling for anything else.
Why do it?
I'll say this off top. There's not going to be a scheme in this series defensively that he's going to have to worry about.
No.
It's not going to be a different look.
Yeah, it ain't going to be something that he's just like, you know what, I got to really go back to the lab and prepare for this scheme. I've never seen this before.
Were you surprised in that February game? And you kind of hit it on the head. When you're in a 7-game series, you're focused on just one team. It was the first time seeing him with Robert Covington. There was no more Clint Capella. Lakers kind of were attacking early. It looked so easy, and they kind of went away from it. And it seemed like the Rockets dictated the pace. It was Harden and Russ kind of dominating from that point on. The fourth quarter.
It took everybody by, off guard. It caught everyone off guard. When you throw a lineup out there with traditional guys that play forward positions or two-guard positions, and now that's the lineup. The rotations is different. You don't have Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee closing out to the perimeter. They're not used to that. They're not accustomed to that. But now, when they see the lineup, they know what their tendencies are. They know where they need to be, the placement on the court defensively, and it changes the game totally.
James, I'm curious, that question I asked Allie, do Dwight and JaVale need to make an impact in this series for the Lakers to dominate it and be successful? Do you need them to have an impact in this series? Does that mean they're playing their role?
On the defensive end,
yes.
If they come through the hole, they shoot a lot of threes. But when they're in the game, they got to eat that offensive glass up like it's the last meal, Geeter. And that's where they have an impact. They have fouls they can give up. Dwight's going to be physical.
Yeah.
You got to hit people. Get in front of them. Don't let them run their path like they want to. So I think, yes, they can be impactful. Both have experience. And I think, it's a mismatch on some of these switching and shooting threes, but when they're in the game, they got to make a big impact.
I was going to say, Brez, the problem is Dwight and JaVale now have to go out to the perimeter because that's where everyone is for the Rockets. So it takes away some of their strengths.
Yeah, on one hand, the Lakers should have no problem in the paint. Come on, Eric Gordon trying to stop LeBron. That's not going to happen. Karan's cracking up already just thinking about it. But, yeah, there's the other extreme. JaVale, he's a fast guy for a 7-footer, but can he get out there and put a hand in Covington's face or whomever he's matched up on? It's going to be really fascinating to see both ends, highly different offenses here. who's going to carry the day?
They're not accustomed to doing it, I can tell you that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
not extending all the way to the three-point line.
Is any 7-footer? I mean, and by the way, P.J. Tucker, 6'6", he's the center on this team.
Him at that 5 position, the only time he's extremely dangerous is when he's in the corners. He shoots a high percentage. I think he's best in the association, but outside of that, I live with it.
You know, P.J. actually, in an interview yesterday, he said that he might be able to get to A.D. because A.D.'s used to like 7-footers going up against him. Well, you know, P.J. Tucker's 6'6". It reminded me several years ago, someone asked Phil Jackson, who's the best post defender in the NBA? Phil said Chuck Hayes. And my first question was, what team is he on again? Chuck Hayes. I mean, he's with the Houston Rockets, ironically. He was another 6'6" guy, hit a really good arm bar, really good base. P.J. Tucker, not as stout, maybe, not as burly as Chuck Hayes, but he can probably get under there a little bit.
When I was playing, Corliss Williamson was the same way. But when you get movement and activity, he wasn't the same defensive player because now you can't move and stay with A.D. So you're going to get in a lot of situations where A.D. is going to be facing you with movement, with a live dribble. P.J. Tucker don't want that action.
Harden said, battle of the superstars. Here's what it looks like, guys, when you look at the numbers of the 4 superstars playing in this game. You got 4 of the top 10 players in the league. AD, 30 points, 57%, 9.4 rebounds. This is in the playoffs. LeBron, a triple-double. James Harden, 29, 6, and 8. And Russ down with the scoring and the shooting percentage, 14.
Eric Gordon stripped by Caldwell Pope, picked up by Caruso. James down the other end, and the flush. Westbrook accelerates and scores. Puts it down. Pretty play by Kyle Kuzma. Westbrook drives on Caruso, creates some space and nails it. And from behind, the block by Covington. As James gets a beautiful pass. James for Davis. Westbrook given room and is able to hit on the mid-range shot. Hart knocks down a 3. And a shot is blocked by Davis. Shot blocked by Howard. Caldwell Pope with the slam and the foul.
Tough shot. Welcome to the Houston Rockets.
Shot blocked by McGee. Oh, right at the rim.
Cold right there.
Love that like Born Ultimate movement. Music going on.
That was
strong stuff.
That was nice.
I want to talk Kuz and his role this series. In the past, he's had some big offensive games against the Rockets. Those were different teams. Yeah. Those were young guys building. He was getting a ton of shots. This series is going to be about defense for him. He's going to be in a lot in the small ball lineups. He's going to have to guard Harden and Russ. He's going to be involved. They're going to hunt him. He's going to get on switches. How about this, James? In round 1, he had the 2nd best defensive rating on the team. It's not about how much he scores in this series. You would like that, but it's about how he does on the defensive end.
Absolutely. You know, what you do on the defensive end dictates kind of what everything goes on the offensive end. Also, it's contagious. So, you know, Kuz has learned that his length and his size is an advantage on the defensive end. So now he's learning how to watch video, how to watch tendencies, you know, what players are doing. That's the key, because every night's a different matchup for him, and he seems to have, you know, been ready for the challenge every night. So, you know, his offense we know he has, but defensively, you know, I'm not comparing him to Klay Thompson. He has the potential, but he needs to be that two-way player that can do it on both ends. And so far, he's on his way.
He had to stay extremely energetic. I think he said it earlier this week that his job is to come in and bring that energy and be active on the defensive end of the floor. And you saw that clip right there against James Harden in their first game in the regular season in the bubble. So if he continues to do that, crowd offensive players like Russell Westbrook, he's going to be guarding him quite some time. I think he's going to be successful and just knock down open looks. He's going to get a ton of them.
Brett, someone we have not seen in the bubble yet is Rajon Rondo. He's coming off the bench tonight. He's going to be a part of this series, and it starts in Game 1.
Yeah, you know, going back to Kuz for a sec, I think this really benefits Kuz. Kind of have a little bit of order on that second unit because you got a couple combo guards. You know, Caruso kind of doing this thing mostly defensively. Deion Waiters, if he's in there, he passes a little bit, but he looks for a shot most of the time. Now you got a bona fide passer right here in Rondo. I mean, he's second on the team in assists, trailing only the league leader, LeBron James. So he's going to be a really good asset for Kuz in particular on that second unit. Kind of settle it down a little bit if it's getting a lot of control.
Rondo?
I also think Rondo is wise enough to know when somebody's hot. like if Kuz is, you know, if he feel like Kuz is the guy that's getting it going, he'll find a way to get him 2 or 3 shots to make sure he sustains that. So he's a remarkable coach on the floor, and that's a major asset to have when you have someone out there that can think like a coach and knows the system.
I think he's great also when he's not hot, knowing, like, you know what, Kuz need to touch the basketball. He's working his tail off on the defensive end of the floor. He's keeping everybody in position.
And by the way, Kuz, of all of the teams he's played against in his 3 years, guess who he averages the most points against? Houston Rockets, 22 a game.
Great offensive game.
Yeah, 38 as a rookie against these guys, 32 last season. He likes playing against the Rockets.
It's the pace, how they play and how they switch, and that's his kind of game.
Yeah. Different team, though, now.
That you said
different
it. Yeah,
roles.
A lot of new faces.
Bulls like red.
Lakers and Rockets. That's a good point. Lakers and Rockets coming up in a few minutes. That game is going to be on ESPN. Be sure to join us back here for post-game. We're going to have all your Laker interviews from start to finish, and we'll be breaking it down, all things from Game 1. It'll be a 90-minute post-game when the Lakers win Game 1. Take Your Shot is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. You're each going to pick a Laker that you think is going to impact this game and be the difference. Big Game James, you're going AD out the gate.
Yeah, he's key. He's key, and he's got to be aggressive. We know he can score points at will. He's got to recognize the matchups, not try to overdo it, because he also can drop some dimes and give people